Well, hey, what's going on? It's about 10:45 on this Tuesday morning. My buddy Moses back in San Diego is asking me why I'm always saying what day of the week it is and what time. I'm just letting you know what the city looks like on a Tuesday morning compared to maybe a Sunday afternoon. It's pretty hot today. I'd guess it's about 90 degrees. I'm usually not out running around in the heat of the day, but I have a couple of chores. So I'm gonna walk from here to Soi 39, and then I have to go over by the Hemisphere. I didn't bring an umbrella in my backpack. It's rainy season, but that is normally in the later afternoon. Yesterday, it rained briefly at midnight, 1 in the morning, just for like an hour. But yeah, probably 80% of the time, June, July, August, September, it's going to rain 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon till 6, 7, 8. Now, if there's a storm, it can rain all day, but generally it's just tropical in the evening. A couple of everyday tips. I have been getting different comments, so maybe I'll make a video answering those comments, because some of it is good information that I'm asked over and over. For instance, these motor taxi guys with the orange vest, I've been asked a couple of times, do I just flag them down in the middle of the street? And it kind of depends. Like right where I just left my condo, let me watch my elbows here, right at the end of the block there where the 7-Eleven is, that is a motor taxi stand. And the dynamic is those guys will run you down in this direction to Sukhumvit or the BTS. It's supposed to be 10 baht for halfway down the street. I live right in the middle of Soi 26. So from Sukhumvit to where I live, it's supposed to be 10 baht. They'll oftentimes charge 20 baht if they pick you up or drop you at the BTS, which is an extra 50 feet. If you want to avoid that whole 10 baht fee, just tell them take me to Sukhumvit and they'll drop you at the top of Soi 26, and then you hoof it up to the BTS. But I don't care. I just give them the 20 baht. They're making a little extra cash and I have to walk a little less. But these guys at my condo will take you to the train, and then they won't pick up another passenger to come back in the other direction. There's another group of guys that sit at the top of Soi 24.5, and they don't step on each other's feet. So in regards to flagging one of these guys down, they'll oftentimes point to the motor taxi stand, meaning go over there and get a bike. I'd love to take you, but yeah, I'm not gonna get in a battle with the other guys. So with that being said, those are the guys that stick to the street. Every major street is gonna have a motor taxi stand at the end of both ends of the street, and oftentimes in the middle if it's a large street like mine, 26, 24, 22. But this guy right here, if I were to just flag him down, he may or may not stop. For one thing, most of them are also working grab and bolt on the side, so that's what you really need to do. Use your foreign credit card or your Thai debit Visa and just put grab and bolt on your phone. That is better than flagging these guys down. You're gonna get the best rate. Oftentimes it's 37 baht if it's under, I wanna say, 1.5 kilometers. So if I were to just flag a guy down and say, hey, take me from here to Hemisphere, which should be 37 baht, he might say, okay, 60 baht, let's go. Or he might even say 100 baht, just to see if you know what's going on. And you kind of should. Hey, that dog. But at night, all bets are off. When you're walking home late at night, whatever it is, 2 in the morning, every single bike is going to pull over. Hey, do you need a ride? Do you need a ride? Just to pick up that last fare of the evening. Now, of course, there are exceptions to every rule. Of course, there are motorbikes that will pick you up here and they'll take you to Khao San Road. But for the most part, the guys in the orange vest that kind of kick back at the taxi stands, they're not interested in taking you from here to Ekamai. That's what grab and bolt is for. Maybe 75% of the guys in the orange vest, they're just kind of running up and down their territory. And as far as cabs go, you want to flag a cab down. The cabs that are parked in front of the mall and all, they're a little bit more cab for hire kind of a deal. They're not super interested in turning the meter on or repairing their quote-unquote broken meter. There's a lot of that goes on around town. I know it bothers a lot of guys. Me, it's just kind of the price of doing business. If it's raining, if it's 2 in the morning, all these are different factors to where I have no problem opening the taxi door and saying, hey, I'm going from here to there, 100 baht, let's go. Now, if he would have turned the meter on, perhaps it'd be 65 baht. But I don't really want to have 5 conversations and stand in the rain for 8-10 minutes to find that one guy that's going to turn the meter on. But I know that is a sticky situation online, on YouTube, whichever. For whatever reason, guys get super carried away with the what they'll call the taxi scam of Bangkok. To me, it's just not that big a deal. To me, a scam is Uber and Lyft in the United States when it's 200% surge pricing and it costs you 28 bucks to go somewhere and $112 to get home. That is a scam. Paying an extra $2 on a taxi ride in the rain in Bangkok, I'm just not going to lose a lot of sleep over that. Now, one of the other tips I'll throw down is I'm heading off on a trip, so I need to have some cash in my pocket. I have my ATM card. I don't normally carry it around. I use my US credit card every day. I mean, you'll have to decide how you want to handle those things, but I'm a miles and points guy, and I risk it. Yeah, I was compromised. I've been compromised twice in the United States, and probably about a month ago, somebody tried to pump gas in Aberdeen or whichever country. So it can happen anywhere. Am I overly worried about it? No. When I was compromised, it was a Chase card, and of course they close it down and issue a new card, and they were good enough to, as UPS to me. You'll have to talk with your different banks. I've not had good luck with Bank of America trying to get a new card sent out here. Chase, not a problem. They've sent me 2 cards. Navy Federal, my ATM card kind of stopped working. It worked like 20% of the time. I don't know if it was demagnetized or whatnot, but they sent me a new card. Also DHL, I think. Just ask. I think Navy Federal charged me, I don't know, some little $8 fee or something to express it to me. Both times Chase sent it for free. And Bank of America even asking politely to speak with a supervisor. Hey, you know, I've been a customer, whatever it is, 25 plus years, and I've never really asked for anything. They refused to even mail a card to me. They said, no, it has to go to your address on record, which didn't make any sense to me. I mean, I'm explaining to her, you know, I'm on a quote-unquote extended vacation, and there are people that need their card away from home. You know, how are we going to work this out? And she says, there's no way we can work it out. We can send it to your home of record, in my case, Florida, and then they can FedEx it to you. So that seemed a little unreasonable. I ended up closing that Alaska card, which I miss. I miss my Alaska miles. I'm not sure what's going on with the St. James Hotel right next to the DoubleTree here. They've been closed for about a week now, so hopefully it's just a remodel. I don't see anybody springing into action in the past week. Here's the DoubleTree on Soi 26, a pretty affordable place to stay. I want to say my buddy was here, I think it was the tail end of high season, so it was a little expensive. I think he paid 70 bucks with tax, but maybe a 5-6 minute walk, maybe less, to the Prampong BTS. But right across the street is John's place, Queen Bee. Fun little spot for cocktails, music. It's pretty mellow. It used to be kind of super busy back in the day. These days, it's a little bit more mellow. If you're looking for a quiet place to just go hang out, it's definitely not Soi 11 and all that craziness. It's just more a neighborhood bar these days. But another tip I'll throw out is when you get your Thai bank account, and most of us are going to do that for visa reasons or just to make your life simpler. I guess you can get around things living here without a Thai bank account, but yeah, it's definitely going to make your life easier to just transfer that money to your landlord. And in the case of certain visas, including mine, you have to show X amount of baht in the bank, on and on. But when you do open that bank account, get yourself a couple $100 of 20 baht notes. Those are gold as far as the motorbikes and even tipping. I don't want to get into a big controversy over tipping. I know it's another bone of contention here on YouTube and Facebook and Reddit, and you know, this isn't a tipping society, and on and on and on. But myself, I always leave a little bit of tip. I mean, I'm sitting there drinking whatever it is, 1,000 baht of happy hour drinks, and they're kind enough to come over to me and say, hey, you know, happy hour is ending in 10 minutes. You just got here. Would you like to prepay your 4 more pints you normally drink and kick back and enjoy till 9 p.m. and that saves me a lot of cash. So I personally don't have a problem passing that on to my friends, the servers. They're good friends of mine now. You know, if it costs me 80 baht or 100 baht, not that big a deal. But just leaving 20 baht, I think, is very reasonable. People you don't know, or, you know, you get yourself a couple of drinks and a plate of food, it's 300 baht. If my bill is 289 baht, yeah, I'm fine pulling out one of those 20s. I'll usually just say, you know, make it 300 baht on my credit card, and then here's another 20. You can round up. Now, the one thing you have to be mindful of is when you round up, ask them if it's going to that person. Usually it's going to the entire wait staff, but in some instances, they'll tell me, yeah, so you got to be careful crossing the street here. This guy just doesn't have a clue. Lost my train of thought there. You have to be a little careful. There are some establishments where when you're using a credit card and you want to pay more, so let's say you have a $289 charge and you say, hey, make it $350. They'll tell you, okay, that's going to the owner. And that really isn't my intention. I'm trying to support the business, but my intention is to tip my server. Okay, now this lady, you can't see her. She's sticking her hand up in the air as some kind of, hey, stop. And yeah, that doesn't really work over here in Thailand. So you can stick your hand up all you like, and you're probably going to get a hand ran over. I hate to kind of keep beating a dead horse on traffic and pedestrian traffic here in Bangkok, but it's a real thing. And on my street are a ton of Chinese and Japanese visitors, and I don't know, they don't seem to understand the system of you need to wait for a break in the action to cross the street. They'll just step out in front of a motorbike, and I've seen 2 people get nailed, and I've seen other arguments break out because they're just appalled that you know, they're kind of crossing in the middle of a street and the motorbike didn't slam on the brakes for them. And this other system, I think it's a Japanese kind of thing, is to just stick your hand up in the air, and that is supposed to make everybody slam the brakes on. That doesn't seem to happen here. And maybe a couple $100 worth is a bit of an exaggeration. I think I did, and it lasted me a good year and a half. I mean, when you jump on these motorbikes, they don't want to make change. I mean, they will, but it's just a hassle. The same with the water taxis and the buses. 20 baht notes are king. I mean, right now, I really should go into my branch and you know, peel off another. I'm just throwing down $100. You do what you want to do, but I keep my 20s separate of the other bills, and they come in very useful. Now, 7-Eleven, they don't really care about 500 baht and 1,000 baht notes. I mean, I'll do that all the time. Just buy a 16 baht drink and say, hey, you know, I'm sorry, I only have this money from the ATM. They're like, yeah, no problem, I don't care. They have a machine of change right in front of them. So that's a good place to break those 1,000 baht notes, not a street vendor. And here's one of the original locations of Rung Rung Noodles. You can see how packed it is, all the different linemen and grab waiting for their orders. And just across the street on the right, well, there's actually two locations here. There's just a wall separating them. But across the street on the right is the new larger location right next to the 7-Eleven. Delicious bowl of noodles, 60, 70 baht. Even on this weekday, it's not even lunchtime, you can see it's packed. Be afraid to use the local merchants. This guy right here, he has a little humble shoe stand, but the shoes I'm wearing, they're an older pair of Nikes, but I busted a hole through the little mesh. Let me come over here. I don't know if you can see that. I just kind of poked my toe through there after wearing these shoes for a couple of years, but the soles are still okay. So he glued in a little piece of leather, and I don't know what he did. It was nothing, and that was a little bit of a language barrier, but what I think he was getting at was 40 baht. I mean, I gladly gave the guy 100 baht. Again, I know that's over tipping and whatnot, and I'm not trying to be that guy, any kind of show off or however you want to say it, but I don't know. I just see the guy, I walk past him every day, we kind of say hello. I mean, he's kind of a friend of mine now that maybe because I paid him twice as much for a simple repair, but I'll see him there oftentimes without a gig, but half the time he's sitting there sewing up somebody's purse or doing all kinds of things, and I like to see it. I like to see a guy making a living, so if I can contribute that extra $1.50 or whatever, as I stood there in my sock waiting for him to fix up my shoe, that's worth it to me. One other tip, I know it's probably not the greatest fashion sense, but pick yourself up a couple of these. This is what, a bucket hat, I guess you call them. This one's an Adidas. Whatever it is, I wear these things all the time. It's just blazing hot. People walk around using an umbrella to keep the sun. Oh, up their heads. Somebody just hit something. Yeah, that's the thing. You'll be walking around on Sukhumvit and you'll hear the unmistakable grind of metal, and oftentimes they'll just ride away. If somebody clips into the side of a bus on a motorbike, yeah, it's definitely an organized chaos. And one very important tip, again, getting back to the being careful walking around on the streets. You can see this light. In 15 seconds, it's going to change to green. I don't care if it changes to green. Be very, very careful stepping out. Green or not, there will be motorbikes just zipping around this corner at 20, 30 miles an hour. And even here, it's green, but you can see they're gonna snake through. It's just a Bangkok thing. Traffic is so bad, it's almost accepted. I remember way back in the day, the street lights, I'm not from Boston, but I spent some time there. They used to call it red +5 because they did not have turn signals. This was in the 80s, 70s, whatever. And the light would turn red, and it was just accepted that 5 cars are going to zip in front of you before you take off, because you're going to be that guy trying to make a left turn on a green light without an arrow down the street. So yeah, here it's just kind of accepted. When the light is red, such as it is, bikes are still going to go. Cars in this left lane will still go on a red light. And here's a tip you might not be aware of, especially up in the Asok area. You'll see different backpackers from all over the world, and I love to see it. But when a person is wearing half of what they own on their back, one of these big, gigantic 50 pounds of gear, you need to take that off and hold it. You are not expected to be walking around on the BTS train with a big backpack on your back. You'll see people even take their small backpack and turn it around and put it on their chest. It's just not proper etiquette on the train, banging around into everybody with a large backpack. Yet up in the Asolk area especially, you have the airport rail link, and that's kind of expat central. You'll see it every day. Now here's a tip on the buses. That's an air-conditioned bus. It's pretty obvious. They're closed up. They're normally blue. Now they're going to cost a little bit extra. Nothing crazy. The non-air conditioned type, it's like an old school bus. Now normally, unless it's raining, every window will be down. When you jump on that bus, and I'm no expert on the bus, but from this area, Phrom Phong to An Nut, I did it all the time. It was always 12 baht. When you jump on the air-conditioned bus, it's oftentimes the change person will come around. Once again, she will really appreciate a 20 instead of you pulling out a 500. She's not going to like that at all. Here's another air-conditioned bus. These are more based on, okay, where are you going? From here to An Nut, 18 baht. From here to Udom Suk, 20 baht. I'm just making up the numbers, but it's a little bit more than the air-conditioned bus. I wouldn't stand around waiting for the air-conditioned bus, but it's a nicer ride than the jam-packed 12 baht bus. There's a bus app that I don't know anything about. I know my girlfriend uses it. She'll be heading off to work, and there's an express air-conditioned bus that goes to her work. Otherwise, she has to take the yellow line to the blue line and then get on the green line. It sounds like a lot, but it's all kind of connected together. So she'll take a look at that app on the way to work, and if the bus is 3 minutes away, she'll jump on that. If it's 9 minutes away, she jumps on the train. But myself, I'm not that much on a schedule, so I'll just walk out of wherever I am. If the bus is standing right in front of me, yeah, I'll jump on it. Otherwise, I usually head up to the train. The good thing about the buses is they're, of course, running 24 hours, where the trains, I want to say 5 to midnight. And this is looking up Sukhumvit Soi 39. I'm heading down the way. If you're coming over for a visit, bring clean $100 bills, 50-pound notes, whatever the highest Australian bill is. They will not accept a bill with any nicks, tears, some idiot who wrote his name on the bill. None of that. I was watching a YouTube. I want to say the guy was in the Philippines, and he said, I'm guessing 50% of the money guys bring over, they're not going to accept. Well, that might be a little high, but they're definitely not going to accept a bill with even a little tear in it. And I kind of understand why. The exchange people, they can't turn that money in at the bank. It's even at the bank, not these exchange booths. They're going to inspect those bills every which way. So yeah, bring your whatever it is, 10,000 cash or the most you can bring. And I probably wouldn't even do that for safety's sake. I did do it. I brought more, whether I should or not. I probably bought 12 or 13,000 in cash. The other issue or tip is if you're coming over and doing, in my case, a retirement visa, that's all I can speak of. I don't know how it works on other visas, but in the case of the retirement, they want a nice clean path of that money coming from abroad, and in my case from the United States. So even though I brought 13,000 or whatever it was and I put it in my Bangkok bank account, that wasn't good enough for immigration. I still had to send, get out of the way of traffic here, another 800,000 baht. Now if I didn't have the money, I guess I could have wired the money from Bangkok Bank back to the US and then wired it from the US back to Bangkok Bank. That's all a little silly. That costs money. It's not free if it's Wise or if it's international bank transfers. That all costs money. So if you are coming over to get, say, a retirement visa, just keep in mind that money has to come from abroad, and you'll be showing that form every time you go to do a visa extension. Well, hey, how did that initial money, at least I have 3 years in a row now, how did that money come into Thailand? And cash is not an acceptable answer. The only reason I even brought the cash was I figured it would help me speed things along in opening a bank account. Yeah, it did not. I still had to use an agent. I ended up doing the visa on my own. I just wanted to learn how to do it. But opening a bank account, again, this is another conversation that people will say, you know, you're an idiot. I opened my Thai bank account in 1972, no problem. You should have no problem in 2024. Yeah, it's a little bit more of a problem today, and it's only getting tougher. So I would maybe lean towards speaking with an agent. The guy I use is at Siam Legal. I don't even think he does them anymore. It's just such a hassle. He does the visas, but he doesn't do the bank account. From what I'm told, a couple of subscribers have told me that. But if you walk up Soi 13, there's a trendy building down in the lobby, all kinds of different offices that say we'll help you open a bank account, or go visit my friend Stella over at Stella's Secret Bar. She has contacts at immigration and has a visa service on the side. She also has a condo search business on the side. And I know she has opened bank accounts and helped people with their visa. I'm not sure of the costs or any of that, but Stella's Secret Bar, Soi 41, nothing else, go on in and have a drink, say hello. Tell her you found out about her bar from my channel. She loves to hear that. New people come in. Oh, and one other tip. I did have that pile of money, whatever it was, $13,000, and I got the bank account opened, and I understood, okay, it looks like I need to wire over another, in my case, I wired over 1 million baht. I didn't want to be anywhere near that 800,000. You do have to keep in mind, when you're wiring the money over, oftentimes it'll take 2 days, that kind of thing, and the baht can change. It can be whatever it is, 36.5 to 1 US one day, and then the next day it's 35.4. That's a bit extreme, but it has been jumping up and down in the past couple of weeks. So don't figure out exactly 800,000 baht in US dollars and wire that exact amount is, whatever it is, I'll make it up, $22,282. And when it comes over, you missed it by $1. You know what I mean? You ended up with 799,000 baht. Well, that's going to be a real problem with your visa. The figure is 800,000 baht, and there's not a lot of wiggle room. You probably don't have to go 200,000 baht over like I did, but hey, you know, I live here, I'm spending money here. The baht was super high. It was almost 37 to 1 when I did it, so why not? Oh, and one other thing, I'm not sure if I brought this up. When I did have all that money and I went to put it in my Bangkok bank, the teller was kind enough to say, hey, why don't you walk outside, and these are all nice clean bills, they appear to be. Walk out there and have that guy, it was a money exchange booth. I didn't take the time to go to Super Rich. I think you can get a fraction of a point better. Super Rich. That guy's flying. Super Rich, you can find in the basement at Suvarnabhumi. It's oftentimes the better exchange rate. And when I say that, how do I put it? If the baht is 35.8 at Super Rich, it might be 35.795 at the guy next door. Now that's all going to add up to another whatever, I'll make it up, 12 extra dollars on 10,000. Again, I'm making these figures up. I mean, don't hold me to it. I'm not doing math here. But Super Rich, oftentimes it's a pretty good deal. But in the case of putting this 12,000 into my Bangkok bank branch, at the time I'm holding a ton of cash. I'm just trying to get this done. You know, I'm feeling good that I got the bank account opened. I wasn't really too concerned about if I'm gonna make or lose an additional $10 or $12. I just wanted to get it done. But the lady, and it actually turned out to be quite a bit more, the difference between the bank, in my case Bangkok Bank, and the exchange booth. That is a considerable difference. She told me, I'll be glad to accept this as a deposit, and then yes, I understand you're gonna send another 800,000 over. Anyway. However, she said, go out front to the exchange booth and he can give you a better rate. And on that 12,000, I think I saved 80 or 90 US dollars by using him and his exchange rate compared to Bangkok Bank. So what I'm getting at is the bank's not always going to give you the best exchange rate. Here's the beautiful Diplomat building. on Soi 39. Pretty high-end area, this Soi 39. You're close to the Prompong BTS, and it's just a super popular area, especially with the Japanese and Korean expats and business folks. They're on some high-end expense accounts and living it up over here. That's where I'm walking. I'm walking to a secondhand store called the Treasure Factory. I thought it was a consignment shop, but I'm since learning it's a place where people will go in and say, here's my stuff, what will you give me for it? And they're pretty fair. I sat there and watched some dealings. Some guy brought in some high-end, I don't know if it was a Toomey or some kind of high-end luggage. And they're like, yeah, you know, we'll give you whatever it is, 150 US dollars for it. And then I'm sure they put it on the shelf for $300. And what I was getting at with the motor taxis, if you see on the left there under the umbrella, there's 5 guys standing by in order of the next ride. So if a motor taxi were to pass me right here and I try to flag him down, he's going to point to those guys. Hey, go up there and take the next guy in order. On the left, there's the beautiful Le Raffine building. I want to say there's another one on Soi 22. I'm going to say these are some of the nicest condos in Bangkok. I mean, I've never been in one, but just looking from the outside, I mean, they're as big as most houses I lived in. And that's the Noble on the right. Newish building. I want to say it was built 2 or 3 years ago. I could be wrong, but they still have all the big sales balloons up and all. Another issue, and again, I'm just a guy on YouTube, so please use this as a place to start your own research and go from there. If it's my channel or anybody's channel, anybody could say anything online. I've heard some crazy things being said, so use this as a starting point. But when I advise somebody, that's the wrong word. If somebody were to ask me, or if I'm just throwing it out here, you know, on my channel, when you send your money from, in my case, the US to my Thai bank account, they're going to ask you, do you want that sent in US dollars or converted in the US? And okay, I had my money sent from Navy Federal, and I was told, I don't know if I got lucky or just picked it up online, have them send it in US dollars, and then it's converted into Thai baht when it arrives in Bangkok Bank. Again, getting back to what I said earlier, the conversion rate changes hourly during working hours, I believe, you know, depending on situations financially. So if you send that money, say, whatever, Friday afternoon US time, and it does not hit your Bangkok bank until Tuesday morning, there could be a lot of wiggle room on that the Thai baht. So you don't want to do the exact 800,000. Give yourself a little padding. I don't know what you're gonna do if somehow you ended up sending 799,000 baht and then you had to send another 2,000. It's going to be a mess at immigration, you know. Well, here's 99% of it, and then here's the other part. Just don't do that. I have heard of issues on YouTube where guys got burned. What am I going to do? Or other situations where they left exactly 800,000 baht. A lot of guys, for whatever reason, I have just one account, and there's plenty of money in there. It's never going to go under 1 million baht. But that's also my spending money. I move money from abroad into Bangkok Bank, and I paid my rent out of there, and on and on. Again, there's a substantial amount, over 800,000, so nothing to worry about. But other guys have said, I'm going to set up 2 bank accounts and put 800,000 in one, never touch it, don't worry about it, it's never going to go below 800, on and on. Well, there's all kinds of fees. They'll charge you for your debit card. I think that's 500 baht or 350, I don't know. And there's just little fees. You do get a little bit of interest, not much. I want to say, I don't even remember, 2,700 interest on whatever I had in that 1.5 million or whatever. It's not much. But what I'm getting at is these guys will set that 800,000 aside, and then they won't look at it until it's time to go to immigration, and they realize, holy mackerel, it dropped down to 799.999 for 2 days until, you know, it went back up over 800,000. And there's different rules on it can't drop from 800 to below 400,000 for X number of months, and on and on. So if you happen to mess that timing up, that's going to be an issue when you go into immigration. They don't want to hear excuses. The rules are the rules. Keep 800,000 in there. It can't drop below 400 for whatever it is, 3 months before and after you apply for the visa. And, you know, they don't want to hear about you were 10 cents off for only 1 day. So again, common sense would tell you if you're going to go with that system and have 2 bank accounts, and there's nothing wrong with that, I guess. I mean, have more than 800,000 in there. Have 850,000 in there. Just whatever. It's your money. Just play it safe. Now, if you're just coming over here for a visit, the prime weather tip would be to come as close to Christmas as you can. I threw that advice out to a buddy in San Diego, and I told him, like Halloween, definitely the Christmas season, and in through January, maybe even early February. Well, he came, I think he was here for Halloween, maybe even the day after, and it was roasting hot. So that is a little hit or miss. Definitely around Christmas time, you're going to get as good a weather as you can get. It's always going to be hot here. I mean, but that time of the year, it will rarely rain. Even today is kind of a nice breezy day. I don't know what I said it was earlier. I don't check. I think I said it was 90 degrees. It might be like 84 degrees, which, believe it or not, that's cool if there's a breeze going, because well over 100 degrees is very, very common. But if you're coming over here and doing an exploratory trip and thinking about moving here, I probably wouldn't not come then. I would come in April, the hottest month of the year, or come, you know, in August and September, the rainiest months, or catch a little of each and see if you can deal with that. Because if you come over on holiday 2 or 3 times for 2 weeks at Christmas time, that is not a real indication of Bangkok heat, rain, that kind of thing. And, you know, that's nothing I would base, can I deal with the weather on that time of the year. And I know Pattaya is a big popular destination. It's a little cooler down there. I mean, you have the Gulf of Thailand breeze. Here in Bangkok, it's just concrete jungle. There's, even on a breezy day, there's so many high rises, and it just traps the heat down here. It's oftentimes 5 degrees cooler going up on my condo, up in the high 20s with the windows open, than down on the street. Just a little bit of a non-obstructed breeze up there. But down in Pattaya, you have it's a little bit of coolness coming off of the water. The other consideration is Chiang Mai is very popular, but you have to be careful with the burning season up there. They burn the sugarcane crops. I don't know if they burn the rice. The sugarcane, people will say, why don't they use a tractor on and on? I don't know. They've been doing this for thousands of years. It does cause a little bit of smoke in the air, but I think it adds nutrients to the soil. It's probably not going to end anytime soon. Burning season, do an exact Google on that. I want to say the beginning of the year, but it's different every year. I want to say this year it was 3 weeks earlier than last year. I'm not sure, but it's kind of nasty during burning season. I was up there at the tail end in Songkran, and oh no, maybe they started later, because I don't know why I keep saying I want to say. I'm getting a little hot. People say January and February, but I was there in April, which is Songkran, and they were still burning. So you'll have to do the research on that if Chiang Mai is your destination. And I can't give you any tip or advice to avoid pollution here in Bangkok. I've been asked, I don't know, dozens of times, how's the pollution? How do I avoid it? This, that. I can't give you a simple answer on an area of whatever it is, 14, 16 million people. There's going to be pollution. But on a day like today, you can see beautiful blue skies, I don't know. I don't really get into all those different indexes, the sun index and the pollution index. It is what it is. You'll see different folks walking around, including expats, with a mask. If you're asthmatic or whatever, any light pollution is really going to bother you. Oh, trust me, there are days where these two buildings off in the distance, well, maybe not that close, but buildings about twice as far as those two will look hazy. So there are days where it's definitely worse than others. The good news is, again, I'm up on that high floor, so I know what my view is like. You just avoid going out on those days. And it's not, again, I'm not an expert with this. It seems to be, you look out the window, it just looks horrible. The news all over the different websites will be terrible pollution. And then it's just gone in 2 or 3 days. So it doesn't last for months and months. The burning season does not help. That kind of travels down and mixes in with the heat of the city and the normal pollution of the city. So yeah, I guess if you're just coming for a visit, maybe try to avoid January, February, March. With that being said, again, I'm making this up. Maybe January, February, March, 15 bad days. And here's the Weber of Thailand headquarters. That's probably the only thing I miss. Well, there's plenty of things I miss about California, but oh, there's a Le Raffine off in the distance. Okay, so I'm on Soi 39. That one is on Soi 35. I'm not sure, and I know there's one on Soi 22. But I really miss throwing a couple of steaks on the grill on my little stainless barbecue hanging off the back of the sailboat. Not a big barbecue community over here. Even down at my pool, I've never seen barbecues down in the common areas. And if I were to put a Weber out on my patio, I'm sure that would cause all kinds of issues. And here's that building. I think I just called it the Noble. It's the Noble State on 39. And where those trees are, I'm sure, is the pool area. It looks like they have a rooftop garden as well. Here's the Royal Castle. I think this is another large-ish building. Every time I walk by, there's a nanny with 4 kids all in their uniforms. I'm sure they're coming out of a large 3-bedroom condo. And here's the Lala Move guy. This is probably the best deal in town. I've used them a couple of times. You put the Lala Move app on your phone, and in my case, I think they asked me, I'm not sure, they want a picture of approximately what you're moving. I was moving my 1-bedroom apartment from En Nut over here to Prom Pong, and somehow in a year I accumulated quite a bit of things. I mean, I filled probably a third of the back of that size van, and it was peanuts to have the driver. You have 2 options. One of them is he just meets you at the street, throws it in the truck, and then drops you off at the street at the next location. Or you can pay to have him help move. In my case, I was up on the 26th floor, and I moved to a similar floor in my new building, and that was a whopping 200 extra baht. So to use the truck, to use the driver as a helper, man, it was like 400 baht, nothing. Like, what is that, 14 US dollars? I mean, again, crazy me. I think I ended up giving him 20 whole US dollars to help me move everything, which was a concern. I mean, when you're in the United States, it's a hassle to move. Try mixing in rain and traffic of downtown Bangkok. I was very, very grateful the way that Lala Move worked out to get me moved across town in no time. In an hour and a half, I emptied 1 apartment. Now you have to have it all boxed up and that kind of thing. And maybe you can pay extra and they'll box it up. But little common sense is just go down to the Home Pro or Big C and get yourself, in my case, I got 6 of those heavy plastic bins and they're just all in the closet right now, all, you know, stacked up together. Then next time I have to move, hopefully no time soon, I'm good for another, whatever, year and 7 months on my lease. I have my shipping containers ready to go. I'll call up Lala Move, and 500 baht, we're good to go. And I've made my way up to the secondhand store. You can use that Lala for anything. I've used them to move a bicycle. I bought a big shelf in here in the secondhand place, and there was a cab just parked out front. And I asked the guy, I know from here to my place, it's, I don't know, probably a 60 baht fare if you turn the meter on. But I said, hey man, I'll give you 100 baht if we can stuff this shelf in and just basically drive, you know, a half a kilometer. And he said, absolutely. So he rolled the 2 windows down, and that shelf stuck out about a foot on either side of the cab, but we got the job done. Yeah, and here's a little tip for secondhand kind of thrift storing. This is called the Treasure Factory. It's on Soi 39. I know there's one across from the W District on Sukhumvit, and one up in the People's Park and on Newt. But different things, I mean, quality stuff. Look, here's a nice Osprey backpack. These are not cheap. It's not going to be cheap in here either. Look at 5,800 baht. So I think on a lot of higher end items, they look it up on eBay. They know what it cost. If it's selling on eBay for 8,000 baht, they'll put it for 5,800. If you sign up on their line, I want to say your first purchase is 10% off. I'm not positive. So it's not super cheap. Again, this is where kind of a fancy part of town. So this is where folks drop off, and somebody's dropping things off now. They drop their things off on that shelf, and they give them a price. All kinds of lenses, higher end purses. I don't know anything about, I guess that's a Coach. What does that say? 4,800 baht for that little pocketbook. Or you can go to MBK, get a nice official replica for 500 baht. I have no idea what they cost. Appliances. I actually found a brand new little toaster oven similar to this. You can see this one's pretty darn clean, but this one I found was brand new with the instruction booklet in it, and it was half price for what I was looking at Big C. Plenty of clubs. I had a set of these, the R5 TaylorMades. I had the R7s, the burner bubbles. Yeah, here's the R7s. I don't know how much. 1,000 baht for the old R7. And they also have organized sets of irons and all. There's some beautiful courses. I don't play, but there's some beautiful courses. Country clubs all around town. Ekamai, right off of Sukhumvit, Soi 42 is a nice driving range, two level. And I know there's a Top Golf somewhere. I think it's by Mega Bang Na, but I'm not positive. Hey, so there you go. There's a few tips and tricks. Again, I'm not pretending to be any kind of expert. If you want to hear from experts, you need to go onto Facebook. Those guys know everything, or at least they'll tell you so. So don't listen to half of those guys. Half of those people, they may not even be in Thailand. Maybe they lived here 10 years ago, and others do live here, and they can't wait to yell at people just asking basic questions about bank accounts or whatever it is. I mean, it must make them feel good about themselves. I don't know. I just ignore those type of people in life, and I personally do not spend a lot of time on Facebook. I'd recommend the same. You can come over here and make every mistake in the book, and you're still going to be fine. It's a very welcoming society. It's just not that big a deal. So don't let somebody online or on YouTube scare you, clickbait titles, whatever the case might be. It's not that big a deal. I'm just throwing these little tips and tricks out there to save you $10 here, or save you a little bit of frustration there. It's not an issue at all. So thank you so much for listening, possibly following along my little channel, and there'll be more videos to come. You take it easy. Have a good afternoon.